Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and this is a very special day because I have an unbelievable co-host. It's Ashley Hilliard. She is Girl Scouts Troop 6139. She was on a few weeks ago being interviewed on all the cool things they're doing, and she did such an amazing job. We said, we need to have her co-host the show and eventually just take the show over from me. So we haven't told you that part yet. But how you doing, Ashley?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing?
Very good. You looking forward to Thanksgiving and all the holidays coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays.
Very good. What are you guys going to do?
We're going up to my grandma's house in Nevada for Thanksgiving.
Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
They're very, very, very nice. Well, good. Well, got a special guest here, and they've been on the show quite a bit. Rich will be a newcomer to the show, but certainly not to Journey's Map. We'll get to Rich in a second, but my longtime colleague, Judy Steingass, it is so great to see you, Judy. How long has it been?
Oh, gosh, a year at least.
At least a year. And where are you living these days?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Omaha, Nebraska. Oh, my goodness. That's great. Judy is Director of Customer Service for Journey's Map. Rich Portelance is relatively new to Journeys, but hit the ground running in a full sprint. He's VP of Marketing and the GM of Journey's Map. And, also we'll talk a little bit about Edgate, too. But I think right off the bat, Rich, Ashley's got a question for you.
Yeah, so what exactly is the mission of Journey's Map?
The mission is to help young people and job seekers to find clear pathways to success. Often there's a disconnect between someone's understanding of what's out there and what they're actually able to achieve. There's skill gaps and other things that get in the way, inhibit that opportunity. So our mission is to make that clear and make those connections happen.
Right, and you do that through technology, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So Journey's Map is a program that is available online or on a mobile application, and the user can go in there and they can actually visualize. It's a GPS for career journeys, which is something that's unique to the marketplace. We use a lot of underlying data to help assimilate the person where they are today, figure out that piece of it through some assessments and things, and then where they want to go, and then we actually create a visual map for them to that spot. And that's kind of the hard part to do, but our data allows us to project that pathway. And so the person can actually go and say, okay, well, if I need to go to community college or I need to get a skills certificate, I can do that. Or if I want to go towards military, and it gives them those different options, and then they can manage that pathway.
Right, and what I like about this is that it's where you are at this point in time, which may be very different where you are 2 months from now, or 2 years from now, or 2 decades from now. And Judy, I know that Journeys, Edmund Inc., Edgate, and stole you from Wyoming, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
You're right.
That's right, exactly. You were in charge of technology and IT and all this business. And, of course, Peter Sibley, the wonderful founder of so many different organizations, Edgate, of course, and we'll talk about that a little bit, and Journey's Map, said, we need to have Judy in the space. So talk about your career with the Wyoming Public Schools.
I actually was a technology director for a school district there for, 20-plus years.
Right.
Where I was responsible for training teachers as well as students, but taking care of the network, doing all the technical pieces. During my tenure there, we actually used some product from Edmund. I had the luxury of being at a 4-day school week, so I had Fridays off. And so I started working part-time for what then was Edmund.com, which also included the Edgate piece, and started doing some training for them across the state of Wyoming. As time went on and they started thinking about journeys, I became passionate about what Journeys Map could do for students. So it really gave me the luxury of becoming familiar as they were starting to develop the product. And the more excited I got about it, then when it was time for me to retire from the school district, I said, I think I'll go to California. And so was here for 5 years during that time and really became involved in integrating Journeys Map with a combination of our clients, which we call them learners, but it includes literally anywhere from K-12. We call it from K-12 through career to death. But it's such a great way for people, like what you said, Drew, is where they're at the moment. It could be a fifth grader just exploring for the first time and taking a look at what is out there, because there's lots of careers that people aren't even aware of. But a combination of using interest surveys and skill surveys, it gives them the opportunity to take a look at it, see where they're at, and then they can build as many journeys as they want. So they can go and create multiple journeys to lots of different careers and then see what the pathway is. Maybe it's not going to college. Maybe it's taking a CTE course in high school and then getting a certification and then going to their career. Maybe it's a stackable career. It could be, I'm going to start out as a CNA in nursing while I'm working towards being a registered nurse, as an example. So it would allow them to look at different steps along the way, including what that college education is. So we have over 9,000 colleges associated with the map. So it allows them actually to go in, get information. Every point on the map has a what we call Learn More, where they can go and they can find out information about the colleges. They can find out information about the standards that they're taking as students, and actually get resources to support their learning. It allows them to look at possibly a military. We also work with military in transition. So as they're coming out of the military, what might fit for them literally in the career world beyond. And so every point along the pathway allows them to get resources to support, look at data, and then ultimately at the career itself and at a glance that lets them know what their salary potential might be, what personality types usually fit that job. It allows them to look at salaries in different places across the United States. So if they're going to move, what might it look like somewhere else? And then ultimately, what institutions or training opportunities fit that career? And then beyond that, it's actually connected to Indeed, so they can actually go out and see what real jobs are available today.
Right. That's so spot on there. We're chatting with Judy Steingass. She is the Director of Customer Experience for Journeys Map, joined by her colleague, Rich Portelance, the Vice President of Marketing and General Manager, Journeys Map. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. Honored to have my co-host sitting right next to me, Ashley Hilliard from Girl Scout Troop 6139. The Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show is brought to you by Cloudcast Media and Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing great things to San Diegans for more than 60 years. We talked about, you heard Judy mention EdGate. Rich, talk about how EdGate ties into Journeys Map and vice versa.
Yeah, it's kind of a long story there, but the idea was EdGate has been around for about 25 years. Edmin actually bought EdGate back 15 years ago or so. Edmin has been what is known in the marketing lingo as a house of brands. They had many different brands that our friend Peter has acquired or built over the years, including Journeys Map, Total Reader, and other products. And to manage those from a marketing perspective as individual little houses is a challenging thing. And so one of my goals as I came in here and strategies that we decided was a good way to go was to bring them and make them a branded house. And that means we're going to make EdGate the champion brand. That's what we're going to market under. And then products like Journeys Map will fall under that house and be part of it. So we'll be able to market in one place. So Edgate is the parent brand. We actually launched the website today, Drew.
Really?
So,
congratulations.
Brand new website for Edgate, and our new brand look and feel is out there. We're excited about it, and we're going to start to do some digital marketing and things like that, so people know that we have many products available for the marketplace.
Right. Before we turn it back over to Ashley, I know she has another question or two for you, Rich, and you too, Judy. I'd be remiss if I did not say, I've been fortunate enough to work very closely with Journey's map since 2014. Believe it or not, it's been 8 years, Judy. That's amazing. And the great folks at Journey's applied for this really cool competition, part of Michelle Obama's Reach Higher grant. And they made the finals. So I'm not sure if you knew this, Ashley. They spoke in front of the White House, to the White House folks.
Oh, I didn't know that, but that's absolutely incredible.
Oh, yeah. They're just, top shelf on this. So, Ashley, you got another question for Rich?
Yeah. So would you describe your organization's community outreach efforts?
So our community outreach, we have a group of passionate people at Edgate and Journey's Map. Many of us are former teachers or people who worked in education, including myself and Judy. So we like to give back, and what we see often, many of our employees go back into the classroom, volunteer for days to make sure that the children are getting support. And we know, especially after COVID, it's really critical to provide some assistance to teachers and to students because of the disconnected learning. And so that's part of who we are. And we want to make sure that we help to advance education. And our vision is actually a more enlightened society. And in order to be enlightened, the whole idea is that there's that opportunity for education and understanding at whatever it is you pursue. So it all ties together for us.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say, and this has always been part of the DNA of Edmund and Edgate and Journey's Map, and certainly with Peter Sibley, the founder, is if it doesn't support and help whoever is getting the product, we're going back to the drawing board. And it's always been that way. Judy, I know that's something that's really important to you folks, is that how do we make it fit? Judy's just done unbelievable work working with a lot of schools across the country, especially here in San Diego as well, getting people started. And people look at the map and they go, third graders can't use this. I beg to differ, and Judy will tell you why we beg to differ. Didn't you work with some of our friends in Encinitas?
Absolutely. It's, we've worked with multiple individual schools, school districts, in addition to like JCCS and other types of institutions along the way. And yes, I've had the luxury of working with actually second graders.
Right.
Which was a blast because then it takes on a whole new light. It's, it's talking about vocabulary and, what different things mean and to listen to them talk about careers or professions and then be so curious is just an absolute blast.
And that's the beauty of working with elementary kids. When you get older folks, maybe people transitioning from jobs, they're sort of a little tentative. If I hit this button, am I going to be sending a missile to North Korea or whatever the case may be? The second and third graders, they're all over the place. They're, finding things, which is the whole intent of Journey's Map. When we come back from break, we're going to continue the conversation with Rich Portelance. He's the VP of Marketing and General Manager of Journey's Map, joined by his colleague, Judy Steingass, Director of Customer Experience. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, joined by my phenomenal co-host, Ashley Hilliard, Girl Scout Troop 6139. Ashley's got a whole bunch more questions for your folks when we return right after this.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you're listening to Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing great things in San Diego for more than 60 years. We are chatting with the cool folks from Journeys Map. Rich Portelance is the Vice President of Marketing and General Manager of Journeys Map, joined by his colleague Judy Steingass, the Director of Customer Experience. I am honored to have a co-host on this show today, multiple shows for that matter, and that's Ashley Hilliard, Girl Scout Troop 6139. I know you have a question for Rich.
Yeah, so Rich, what would you say are some of the most significant challenges today for those people that you serve with Journeys Map?
That's a great question, because in serving the community, you have the learner, and the learner is anybody from, as we were talking about, K through gray. So it could be a 10-year-old youth, it could be someone who's dislocated from a job and they're 30 years old, and so you're serving a wide spectrum of people. And for us, it's how do you engage with them? How do you get in touch with so many people? And we so often we have to make decisions about, where do we put our focus so we can see Journeys Map and start to see it blossom. Now, the other challenge that we have is the intermediaries that are managing these groups, whether they're teachers, they're administrators, workforce operators, government agencies. Typically, all these folks are really overwhelmed and overworked, especially you go into a classroom. And so if we say, hey, we have a great tool for you and it really works, there's still some administration, and they are like, oh my gosh, don't give me one more thing to do. So it's figuring out, what is a dynamic? How can we best assist them and not give them an extra thing, actually try to take some work off of their plate. And so for Judy and I, it's, figuring out those dynamics. Do we need to offer some assistance, some, hand-holding, if you would, in order to get the students the tool that they need? Once the students are there, it's good. It's not them that's the challenge. It's the people that's are in between. So those are the two big challenges I see.
Good. So I can be a little more assertive on that one. And so Rich and Judy are so spot on. Listen, I worked for San Diego Unified, I think even before your grandparents were born, Ashley, so it was quite a while ago. But and we had introduced, it was called School to Work Transition at the time, so I am dating myself, now College and Career Pathways. But you're spot on that, Rich. There was a challenge, and we understood that. There's many things that have to be going on in that classroom, and Judy knows when you close the door for 182 days, and you know that too, Rich. There's a lot of stuff going on. I maintain this. Everything that can be taught and learned through Journeys Map is in those standards, is in core curriculum. There's not a topic that is not touched. So it takes, you folks, to work with those very creative curriculum developers and those principals and the superintendents to say, no, here's the asset with this, and so forth. You were sort of alluding to that as well. Judy, you mentioned something earlier, and Rich, you can jump in on this, but it is so cool. The interest survey. We've known, I've been using this line like incessantly for this last month, and I got to quit doing it because I'm boring the heck out of my listeners. But since people are walking upright, we know when people are motivated to do stuff, they are off the charts on what they achieve, whether it's math, science, language arts, pick a topic. We know this. And yet we don't do this in the schools. Let's go choose something that bores the heck out of the kids to death. I don't blame the teachers for this. It comes from a mandate from God knows some 105-year-old person. And we need to move into some other areas. Talk about that interest survey, because it is so spot on. It's actually focusing on what the student is interested in.
Well, I think that the really nice part about the interest survey is, for one, it only takes about 10 minutes to take. And so as a result of that, it's going to recommend careers, but it's also going to give that student different types of characteristics that they have. And so in that, they can read through those results. They can see if they feel like that fits them. And take then a look at what those recommended careers. Doesn't mean that they're limited to those careers, because certainly they may be passionate about something, or their parents are involved in something, or somebody they really know or look up to is involved in a career that they're really interested in that maybe didn't come out in that interest survey. But interestingly enough, frequently, it will point them in a direction that they may have been thinking about already. And in doing so, it just creates that excitement. But the other thing that it does is, once you get into those recommended careers, and we talked about EdGate earlier, one thing that EdGate does do is they correlate information and resources that would be online actually back to those standards and benchmarks that are taught at different grade levels. So if they're looking at a career, they may not have even thought about the ability of, say, writing. Is writing important when I get to my career? Is math important? So you were talking about, looking at those different content areas. So now they actually have resources to support their learning that EdGate correlated and actually attached to the map. So if I'm struggling with algebra, I now can go in and get those math pieces to support my learning based on the career that came out of my interest survey. So it starts putting all the pieces together. Why am I learning this? Why am I taking this boring class? Well, guess what? It really is important in what my career choice might be. And a way to look at those is, again, to look at those Learn More pages and see what kinds of skills are required for that particular career. You've got your traits that you got from your interest survey. You start putting all the puzzle pieces together.
And the beauty of that, Rich, is the fact that, we all know that back in the day, I'm older than you, but, it was a 40-year career and you got the golden watch, and that was beautiful, right? But these days, it's how many different careers people are going to have, when they're done, and that's fine, that aspect of it. And to Judy's point, there's many different options, because you want to go in this area, you got these skill sets, but this job here has the same skill sets and is in a totally different, place in that area. Talk a little bit about, Rich, the easy access to Journeys Map. It's a free program, is it not?
It is. It's available out there for free for the general user, and then we also do customized versions for different institutions and learning styles. So whether it's a ManTech program through the government for specific manufacturing, or if it's going to go into a school, we can customize it for those applications. But we want to make it ubiquitous, and what we do as kind of teachers of life. We know that there's a 4-step process in this. It's explore, discover, prepare, and launch. And if you apply that, to any learner at any place, those are the steps. And if we can have the software mimic that, which we try to do, give the person those steps, and then build self-advocacy. And we know that that's a huge issue today, especially after COVID. We have kids sitting there in the classroom, staring blankly into space, not being able to express their own opinions, have their own thought process. We want to encourage that. And so it's really backed by sound principles in education so that it can take the load off the teachers, like we talked about before, give the students that executive functioning ability and start to see things. And like you were saying, get them excited and walking upright in towards their careers. And also, there's a great principle in the design world called design thinking.
Of course.
And that can apply to a career. And it's kind of out of Stanford University has this whole program around design thinking for career planning, which I completely support. It's at that point in time where you need to make a decision. And if you're changing a career, do you know what the process is? Can you go through a few steps to get you to that next career opportunity? And if we can help to support and encourage that, then we've really done a good job in helping people get into jobs they enjoy and like, rather than being, in careers that they really don't like.
Yeah, exactly. We're chatting with Rich Portelance. He's the Vice President of Marketing and General Manager of Journeys Map, joined by his colleague Judy Steingass, Director of Customer Experience for Journeys Map. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing great things in the community for 60 years. Honored to be with my co-host, Ashley Hilliard, Girl Scout Troop 6139. And we were just chatting with Ashley and her mom and Robin from the Girl Scouts right before the show started. And Ashley was saying, yeah, I got a little sidetracked. I wanted to do some research on all the guests I'll be interviewing today, and got the Journeys Map, and 3 hours down the road, you got back to Earth. Talk about Journeys Map from your first time you saw it, right?
Yeah, so the first time I saw it, I went on the website and I was just kind of clicking around just kind of to see what I could find. And then I stumbled upon the interest survey and I figured, oh, well, maybe if I take this, I'll be better equipped for my interview tomorrow. And so I took the quiz and then I got the recommendations for some different careers. And I definitely got very sidetracked looking through those careers, because it was absolutely amazing how accurate they were to like my interests and things that I have been thinking of doing for a long time, and how many of those had come up in my suggested careers. Like, I'm thinking about going into law, and that was one of the first things that came up on my recommended careers, which I thought was absolutely amazing that it was that accurate.
Right. So on this day, on November 11, 2022, we have now made Ashley Hilliard the student ambassador for Journeys Map. Let's give her a round of applause. All right. Very, very good. No, that's so well stated. And, and Judy and Rich, big smiles on your face. You can't see it through internet radio, but that is exactly what you want the user to do, Judy, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Because once they get their fingers on it and start seeing all the data and the information that they can get, and then really start making a plan. How's that? We call it building your journey. Mm-hmm. But as you build that journey, now you can go in and get all that information and see what it's going to take to get there, and get excited about it. That's, I love the fact that she did that. That's perfect.
Well, listen, and she's a very special person, obviously, for many different reasons on that. But I think it also helps, Rich, maybe the reluctant reader and the reluctant learner that may not speak up in the classroom for whatever the case may be. But now they go and they found their niche on Journeys Map. And I didn't realize that you can make a boatload of money being an esports person or whatever the case may be down the road. And so did what you've been saying, both Rich, you and Judy. It just opens up, the gate for everything. So before we end the interview, I do want to say this, and Rich, you can address this. One of the beauties of Journeys Map, there's 50,000 beauties of Journeys Map, is that it gives you a whole bunch of pathways. And as we know, we're not discouraging people from going to college. Knock yourself out. You want to go to a 4-year school, get a master's, get a PhD, whatever you want to do. That's beautiful. But you don't have to. You go to a community college, which are unbelievable, great teachers there, and you get an apprentice program or an internship program, and now you're making money as an intern, and now you're got a job making $70,000 a year with no debt. Talk about that pathway, and it's very real, is it not, Rich?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we saw it just a couple of years over the last couple of years. Just as a micro example, my son's high school 4 years ago, 8% of the students went into trades, didn't go to college. Last year, it was 32%. So we're seeing much more of this with the student debt problem, with COVID, I think forcing people's hands. Hey, listen, there's a lot of wonderful opportunities out there that don't require a college degree. And I encourage everybody to look at it and find out what they want. And, my daughter, 20 years old, she decided not to go to college. She is now a hairdresser. I couldn't find a happier person on this planet than she is today. and she has zero student debt. So
Right. And as a dad, as I am, and you are, nothing is more important than, I know Ashley's mom is smiling right now, is make sure your kids are happy and healthy.
yeah.
Bottom line, that's it in this business. We got about a minute to go, so I'll give you a whole whopping 30 seconds each. Judy, any final comments?
I just want people to take the opportunity to go check out Journeys Map and actually see what's there. Dive in, take a look. Even, as a family, sit down and talk about things, look at things, as well as adults. You're ready to change a career? Go take a look. See where your skills land. Go those next steps.
Absolutely. Rich, any final comments?
Find a career that makes you happy, and you will be successful.
How do they get a hold of you? What's the website?
Website is www.journeysmap.com or www.edgate.com. Either one will get you to us.
Yeah, and as usual, when we talk to our friends from Journeys Map, Ashley, we just scratched the surface. This could be a 15-hour interview, and we wouldn't even still come close to it and all that business. So, Rich and Judy, promise you'll come back on again. They both live in pretty far places from San Diego, but they do pop in every once in a while. Why don't we bring in some students also that have benefited from Journeys Map as well? What do you think?
I think that would be great. We work with the local JA. I think we can find some students, and that would be terrific, Drew. Thank you.
Very good. Well, it's been my pleasure. We've been chatting with Rich Portelance, Vice President in Marketing for General Manager at Journeys Map, joined by his colleague, Judy Steingass, Director of Customer Experience. Ashley Hilliard, you're well on your way to being co-hosting of a podcast. You did a great job.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to some more interviews, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Very good. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you've been listening to Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing great things for San Diegans for more than 60 years.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.